Welcome back. Next up is Georg von Manstein. Georg is currently working in San Francisco exploring what's next in machine learning, AI, and human-computer interaction, what he calls thinking machines. He will be presenting his talk, You Can Just Do Things.
Thank you. Has any one of you ever seen an autonomous driving golf cart? Me neither. When I recently visited Stanford campus, I drove to the campus with a Waymo, one of those self-driving robotaxis. And when I arrived on campus, I realized all over Stanford campus are actually golf carts, because Stanford campus is so huge that just to get from your dorms to CODA, the computer science building, you need a 10 or 15-minute bike ride. So for a lot of faculty, or for example, injured athletes, they use golf carts. Interestingly, though, even though Stanford is a place where much of autonomous driving was initially created and innovated, those golf carts are all still operated by humans. And when I talked about that with some of my Stanford friends, we were like, why is that? Why are there no self-driving autonomous golf carts? We should build one. And then we thought about it, and we were like, actually, that's a pretty ambitious project. We would need to get our own golf cart because we need to modify it. We need to make all of the hardware to attach the actuators, the motors, to push the pedals, to turn the steering wheel. We need to make a self-driving model that allows the golf cart to navigate campus so it doesn't drive into one of the students that is biking by. And we realized it actually needs a lot of work. But we were so determined, and we were like, if we could make it, that would actually be a really sick project. And so we thought about it, and we were still excited. We looked it up on Facebook Marketplace, and we found a golf cart. Just so you have context, the reason why I'm talking about this is because it actually crystallized for me one of the biggest learnings I've had in Silicon Valley so far. It is, you can just do things. This idea of Silicon Valley that every morning you wake up, you actually can decide again what you want to do. And this just showed it to me in such a clear way. And so we literally went to Facebook Marketplace, we got the golf cart, and it turns out you can just go on Facebook Marketplace, you can buy a golf cart. It costed quite some money, but we generously got, from a few VC firms from the Valley, we got some grants, so we were able to afford this golf cart. We got all the hardware needed. We probably spent 100 hours in the 3D printing lab at Stanford to print all of the parts to keep the actuators and motors in place so that you can push the pedals. And here you can see the steering wheel. It actually was all self-made. It was 3D printed. You can see the parts. You can see the motor that turns the steering wheel. And after weeks of work, it had actually worked. We were so proud. The golf cart should be a video. Oh yeah, here you can see it. The golf cart worked. We placed it next to the computer science building, and it drove without a driver in it. You can see the steering wheel turning. We were so proud of it. And a couple days later, we had even gotten the self-driving algorithm to work. So our idea of a student that can just hail a ride using the app actually worked. And our friend Aditya took the first ride. You can see him right here. He's riding in the golf cart. No hands on the steering wheel. He's just enjoying the ride over campus. And this really showed me one of the most important learnings I've had so far in the Valley, which, as I said earlier, is this you can just do things idea. Growing up in Munich in Germany, I always thought you have to have a plan. You have to have it figured out. You have to be a PhD in have a PhD in mechanical engineering to be able to make a cool project. But in Silicon Valley, you quickly learn that's not true. You can just do things. There's a second learning that I really want to talk about, which is that over the last couple of months of my gap year after graduating from high school last year, I've been especially fascinated about neuroscience and AI. And so right now I'm working with two Stanford friends on a neuroscience project where our plan is to use our understanding of the human brain to enable machine learning algorithms and AI systems like ChatGPT to continually learn. Obviously, Silicon Valley offers incredible talent. But again, from where I came in Munich, oftentimes to approach top talent, you had to be someone, or you had to, again, have a PhD in neuroscience to be able to talk to the experts in their field. Turns out, that is not true in Silicon Valley. If you actually put in the work, you can ask anyone for help. And anyone will be happy to help you. Good example is a neuroscience project. There is a famous professor at Harvard. His name is Daniel Schacter. And he's the world's most famously cited neuroscientist. He has hundreds of thousands of citations. And he is a true expert in his field of neuroscience. And we've worked through all of his work and through all of his papers, and we were fascinated by it, but we had some really deep questions. And we decided we'll just use that Silicon Valley mentality and just reach out to him. Why not? It can't hurt. And so we just sent him an email and attached 5 of our most urgent questions. And as it turned out, the same day, Daniel Schacter emailed us back, super fired up, and was like, whoa, guys, these are amazing questions. I would love to answer all of them. And then he replied with 3 pages of answers to our questions. And we were just stunned. So we reached out to over 100 researchers and professors, and over 90% of those got back and offered more help. And especially with Daniel Schacter, who's just such an expert, we wanted to be able to answer all our questions, because we had way more than just 5 questions. And so we took one other mentality that I learned in Silicon Valley, which is go in person. You can ask as many questions as you want over Zoom, and you can ask as many questions as you want in an email, but going in person beats it every single time. And so we decided to book a flight, fly to Boston, and visit those professors at Harvard and MIT. And a couple days later, you can see us right here visiting Daniel Schacter in his office. He had us scheduled for 20 minutes. We had so much fun that we even ended up talking for 2 hours. And that was not a one-time thing. It turns out we replicated that with all of the professors. They were all so fascinated that we worked our way through their papers and their work that they had done over the past decades, that they just wanted to help us. And they just were like, how can we guys help you? This idea is so exciting. How can my work be helpful to you? And we were like, whoa, we didn't expect that. We came in with the impression of maybe we can ask 5 questions, and now you ask us how you can help us? And so that was definitely a huge learning. And the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is that one thing that really accelerated our work with them was that when we met with them, they saw that we really put in the work. Because in the questions that we asked, they saw those questions you can only get if you go through 10, 20, with some of these people, 30, 40 years of academic research. And so they were just really impressed. And that's probably the last thing that I want to say that really stuck with me after the first few months in Silicon Valley. If you genuinely put in the work and actually read the research papers, rather than just asking GPT, hey, summarize it and come up with 10 good questions, you'll get a 100x return, and you'll get a ton of new ideas that you can then try to build your startup or fuel your research. I hope that this maybe inspires someone else here today to, if there's any idea sparking in you right now, and you're like, this is a fun idea, don't overestimate the risk. And please don't underestimate the opportunity. Just try it. Wake up tomorrow morning and just do it. You're all about to graduate. Just take a week and say, okay, this is a cool project. Let's just try it out. I will tell you, the only thing that can happen is that you lost a week, but you're probably going to learn a lot. Thank you so much.